I'm going to be honest, one of the easiest options for me was to just, take Trevor and I out of the picture altogether.
What do you mean?
To take the pain away. End our lives.
And the Crow, the captain, an appropriate man to finish with the football. But Country have beaten Sydney first.
What's my name? Who am I?
Trevor, unfortunately, his dementia is in his frontal lobe. He has severe psychological, behavioural symptoms.
Get You hate me? Get
So all day is just constant domestic violence, verbal abuse, physical abuse. Trying to keep his hygiene intact and care for him is impossible.
Trevor is an NDIS participant, so we submitted to the NDIS last year to say that Sandra was no longer able to care for him at home anymore, and his health professional team and support team all submitted reports saying that he needed one-on-one care.
For 10 years and up until a month ago, Sandra Crow has been caring for husband Trevor at home with her adult son Jordan.
His last 12 months have become quite volatile. He has severe psychotic behaviours linked to his dementia, and that has rendered him unsafe for us to take care of him.
She's had to give up her whole life, give up her job. It's just affected everything. It's affected all of us.
CTE can only truly be determined after death, but Trevor's clinicians have little doubt that after a lifetime in the game of rugby league, he's in the end stage of the cruel disease.
We have placed him, or had placed him, in 3 weeks respite at an aged care facility. He went missing from the nursing home within an hour of him entering. I didn't know until the police phoned me that they'd found him. I have 22 pages of behaviour incidences that occurred while he was in there. On another evening, the police knocked at the door to say that Trevor was missing. They eventually found him in the facility. The poor guy was caught in a toilet and had been standing there for 3 hours because he didn't know how to get out. He's not even old enough to be in an aged care facility. He's only 63. But, they couldn't look after him.
He was a great father, loving, caring. He used to take me to play footy all the time as well. He was just so involved with our lives. It was great. And now, who are you and what have you done with my father?
Respite care was meant to be a temporary fix until more permanent arrangements could be made, but Trevor was too much for the care home to handle.
The nursing home called the ambulance, and because Trevor's behaviours had escalated and he was wandering the corridors, screaming, attacking other people. So he was admitted to hospital. He'd been in hospital for nearly 12 hours and the family didn't know. So when I contacted the hospital, they were saying that Trevor was compliant to be cared for and that he could be taken home. Well, I went in and the nurse and I showered him because he had faeces all over him. I was brutally attacked. The nurse was brutally attacked. We were verbally abused. She pressed her duress button. I was hit several times. So yeah, he's compliant to be cared for.
The funding that's been allocated to him as 1 to 3 is just completely inappropriate.
Under the NDIS plan, Trevor was set to enter an assisted living home with 2 other residents, a man and a woman, also living with early onset dementia.
If you were to put Trevor in a house where you've got 2 other participants who aren't able to defend themselves, I expect that within a day an ambulance will be called and Trevor will be escorted back to hospital and someone will get very, very injured, and be that one of those other 2 residents with the younger onset dementia or a staff member there. They don't have the skills to deal with the high level of physical aggression that Trevor displays.
When she visited the group home and met the other frail occupants, Sandra was alarmed.
We're finding it quite often that when we do put in these reports to say that a person requires an increased level of funding, that they come back with this stock standard 1 to 3. And the reason for that is that the people who are making these determinations at the agency are not clinicians. So They're reading on paper things that they don't understand, and the focus is on saving money.
So I think it's high time the NRL pull their head out of the sand and stop denying what's going on, acknowledge the people that are suffering and start supporting them. I think it's important that the NRL acknowledge who they are and the job that they did to make the game what it is today.
Have you asked them for help?
Yes, we've asked. We've been promised, but nothing. They haven't turned up.
So you feel abandoned?
Oh, 100%.
The frustration has triggered the darkest of thoughts.
I didn't know where to turn or what to do. The hospital wanted to send him home. I'm going to be honest, one of the easiest options for me was to just, take Trevor and I out of the picture altogether, to take the pain away, end our lives.
You really thought about doing that?
Yep, the pain would be over because this pain is just unbearable now.
And ducking under a tackle there, Trevor Crow, the captain.
Trevor Crow played only 11 first-grade games for St George back in 1988, but hundreds of club and country games on the way there. But his entire working life was all about the game.
So he dedicated his whole life to league. He started playing at 5. He didn't finish playing till he was 36. He then went straight from playing into football administration. So he was the chairman of the Newcastle Rugby League. He was on the board of directors of the Knights, the board of directors of Menor League, board of directors of the CRL. So he was just, fiercely passionate man that wanted to give back to society. And his number one goal was to give back to the game that he loved so much.
Do you think that the game is doing enough to protect people?
No, definitely not. Definitely not. That's why there needs to be an advisory board to monitor this and to make the game safer. Like set aside funding and people that can make sure the game is going to be safe, whatever that looks like.
I still have significant reservations about him accessing one-on-one care. The places that are able to provide that level of support and care effectively are few and far between. It would not surprise me if he ended up straight back into hospital because he assaulted a carer. Because a carer has a right to have a workplace where they're not going to be physically assaulted when they come to work as well.
Thank you to him in a moment for the MMA man of the match, Steve Roach. You're down there on the sideline and these guys are soaking up every moment of it.
Yeah, great.
He would be mortified if he could see or hear what he's turned into. He'd want me to put a pillow over his face. I know that sounds harsh, but this is not him. His demise has just it's just gut-wrenching, it's heartbreaking. I think the answer is for the NRL to listen, but also the health system to get their ducks in a row because the tsunami of dementia is coming their way. They need to get it right.